There we go. Hey, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. Welcome to Community Conversations. We're just getting started here, and Community Conversations is an interactive discussion on topics that you all want to hear all about. Last month, we talked about hiring, training, and retaining Gen Z rising stylists. And you definitely, if you missed that, it was recorded, so you can go back and check that out. And what happened to Diana? So we'll try to get Diana on again. I'm here joined today with the lovely and incredible Diana Varvaro. She is the director of the Paul Mitchell School in Tysons. And so again, this is community conversations, interactive discussions. I want everyone to think like old school radio, talk radio, where people used to come on to the show and ask questions or drop some experience on us. So anyway, we got Diana Varvaro, and she is the director of the Paul Mitchell School in Tysons. For anybody who does not know you, would you give us tell us what is the director of the school do, and how long have you been there?
Hi. So I have been with Paul Mitchell School NYC for 11 years now. And as the school director, I oversee the entire school, all of the education, basically everything, and placement, anything you can think of, basically. And I definitely love being the director. I love being able to have this conversation with you, and I wanted to thank you so much. And I also wanted to say, just the contribution that you're making on the industry, with all of your podcasts and everything that you do to help to make the industry better. I loved being a part of that, so I want to thank you again.
Well, thank you for taking the time to come on. You have valuable insight and perspective on the future generation of hairdressers. So why don't we kind of jump? Why don't we just kind of jump in, just so everyone knows who's on? We have a few guests that are going to be joining us throughout the evening, and when there's Nick Mirabella. How you doing, Nick? We got him on. I'm just going to say hey to him. Hey, what's up, Shug? Mister I Create Confidence is joined, and he's also going to be on in a little bit. Before we bring anybody on, last month we talked about hiring and interviewing and retaining young people, and we talked a lot about what they want, what they're looking for, how they're thinking, and that's a very valuable conversation. Would you care to just kind of give us a few points recap of what we came up with last month?
Yes, so we came up with, we definitely realize that there has been a little bit of a gap between what future stylists are looking for and the expectations that current salon owners have. I think there was some of the disconnect also was between the future professionals' experiences, not only with the salon owners, but with the people like the stylists who were training them. And, they felt a little bit intimidated. So they're a little bit more, I don't want to say emotionally, but they want to know that they're going to be working for some place that's going to treat them the right way and not make them feel like they're not ready to be in this position, being that they're just starting out. So just to have a little bit of patience, definitely. They want to be in a place that they're going to be able to grow for sure. They're super interested in growing a book. They don't want to really stay assistants for that long, although they don't mind assisting and starting that way. They just want to know that they're going to have a good future.
I would say that my if I was going to sum it up in maybe one sentence or two, I would say that they seem to, in mass, as a whole, they seem to have three things in common. They want to work in a safe environment where they're not going to be judged or bullied or taken advantage of or experience the harsh end, other opposite end of favoritism. They also want to, so that's safe space. They want mentorship. They don't want you to just kind of throw them in the fire and see if they survive, and if they don't, go find another person to throw into the fire. that's definitely not a smart idea if you want to attract people. And then last but not least, they want training and education, but they want it in like an easy to understand pathway. For them to grow, and to me, that's pretty similar to the past. Like if more of us cared more about how we were treated by our boss, maybe we wouldn't even be having these conversations.
Exactly.
Maybe, I don't know. So okay, so now that we kind of chatted about that, what I sent Diana a few pictures, a few more minutes, about 3 more minutes, and we're going to ask Nick to come on. Nick is a salon owner. He owns multiple salons in New Jersey, and he also owns a salon in the South. And I'll let him tell you a little bit about that. He has a unique business model, but he's got a lot of Gen Z stylists working for him. So I look forward to hearing what he said. But before we get him on, I'm just going to go over Florida. Thank you, Nick. I said the South because it was also Georgia, but I feel like maybe that's where you were looking to open up a salon. But anyway, all right. So I'll let you tell them all about that. Okay, so I sent Diana some questions and to ask her, and it was basically like, if I'm a salon owner, I'm a hiring manager personally. So like I I wanted to understand, like, how do I get people to walk through my door? Like, I got a great education program. I like to think, we have classes more than half of the weekends of the year. So like we have tons of classes and events, and anybody who works for us is going to get to come backstage and to just do all the things that Hair Just So Strong does. So I'm like, why does nobody like see the value in this? And so what we're going to talk about today is, how do I get people to just like come in and give me a chance? And so I wanted to know, like, where do people look for jobs? Where do they find salons? Where are people even learning the information? And do you have the answers off the top of your head,
Yes.
or do you?
So the number one answer is Instagram. They find their jobs and salons that they like on Instagram or TikTok. TikTok is huge too. So those are the top two options. Then the rest was like Indeed or job searches like that. We use some different things in our school, like Canvas Me. So they have some online job platforms and job wise that they're already familiar with in school. But definitely TikTok and Instagram is the way to go.
And you know what, I for the salon and for my personal Instagram, it's not like it's not like what we keep up with. Like, it's not my position at the salon to do this, although we're going to, get a team together and, do a better job at our social media for the salon. But what I was going to say was that, oh man, I just totally forgot what I was going to say. anyway, the point is, like, we were talking before we got on camera, and we said something about, like, you said, like, Instagram, because people want to go work somewhere that's cool. Yeah. And trending. And I was saying how that's basically how it's always been. I wanted to work at the coolest salon that I could hear about, or walk into a salon and see if it's cool or not. If it didn't pass the walk in and what I see test, I just turn around and walk. I wouldn't even do the interview. But now they're doing the same thing on Instagram and social media, it sounds like. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was telling you too, like they look at how many followers, they look at how many views, they want to see like that you're relevant, or creating this content that's going to attract people. So not only is it going to attract the Gen Z future stylists, but also that helps to attract clientele as well. So I think it's a win-win. It's just, if you don't have time to manage social media, which is sometimes, super hard, especially if you're a salon owner, I would definitely invest in maybe getting a social media manager, or, just assigning someone to that job.
Nice. Awesome.
Oh, what's going on, guys?
What's going on? So we got Nick Mirabella. And Nick, would you welcome and thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So would you do us a favor, give us a super high level intro, like where you're located, how many shops you got, and a little introduction to like how you run things over there?
Yeah, let me clear my throat. You popped up with that with the alert to pull me on. All right. So I have 4 salons now in New Jersey, and then I have 1 in Florida. I have 4 of the salons are PMAs, so they're private membership associations. So there's no state board allegiance. We are private. We're not open to the public. So in lieu of another pandemic, we don't have to shut down. We make our own rules for the most part. But I can fly in an artist from LA, one from Nevada, one from Nebraska, and they can work out of my salon because we're not open to the public. We're only private. So
Nice.
that's that in a nutshell. Under the First Amendment of the Constitution, you have the right to peacefully assemble. That's what we do in our salon. Under the 14th, you have the right to private contract. So we are protected, and so of our members. We don't have clients, we have members. So that's my salon in a nutshell. And I have a big e-commerce store that kind of fuels the salon as well.
So before you say any more, I want to tell everybody we had a conversation. If you check out Nick Mirabella's episode, if that sounds interesting to you, check that episode out. We dive into what exactly is he talking about with private versus public space. So tonight I reached out to you and I was like, hey, do you have any Gen Z people working for you? And you said a bunch, and you started giving some of your tips and advice. So how do you feel? Could you share, kind of let us in, like,
Yeah.
what size of the percentage of the workforce, and give us some insights?
It's a lot of my team is Gen Z. But to be honest with you, people want to go to a destination. Much like when you're building a salon for your clients, you also have to think about you're building it for your team. And so they also want to work at a destination, not just a location. So you have to make it comfortable for them. You have to make it supportive of them. And you have to, like you said before, it's got to be like the cool place to be at, but the energy and the vibe has to be good,
Yeah.
right? And word of mouth is, I think, really, really important because a lot of owners forget about the whole word of mouth thing. If you have a great team, right, and you're short staffed, maybe 4 or 5 chairs, ask the people who work with you, your team members, hey, do you have any friends that are just like you? Go to your favorite stylists. You do it to your clients, right? Do it to your team, and then give them some kind of a bonus for hiring somebody, like for bringing on somebody to your team. It's my commission structure also is really different, and I noticed that there was and I don't well, I'll just go ahead with my whole structure. A lot of owners are going to get pissed, but we do things a little differently. We have a sliding scale. I cap at 70% commission. So when we start at 50, we cap at 70, and the reason being is I need to make it advantageous for them not to go to a suite, not to open their own salon. If you want to, yeah, let's do it. Let's open one together. Be part of my team. Like if you want to collaborate and get products together, let's team up and buy in bulk, right? Let's get bigger discounts for us. The Ultas of the world are buying huge amounts of inventory, so they're getting color at such a cheaper rate. They're getting products at a cheaper rate. Their margins are so much bigger. They can afford to do things like that. So instead of fighting the salon down the street, collaborate with them. You know, just because someone works for me and they may not be a good fit doesn't mean they're not a good fit for you. So I don't burn any bridges either. And so there's a lot of team members that I recommend to a salon down the street, or they recommend a stylist to me. And as long as you're really there for them, because a lot of leadership has gone out the window, and there's really no strong leaders in our industry. I mean, there's a few, don't get me wrong, but we put so much emphasis on learning highlights, educating haircuts, educating, the new balayage technique, but we don't educate about leadership. Like there's so many good courses and books, and a lot of leaders in the salon don't even understand what level of leadership they're at. There's a great book by John Maxwell, The 5 Levels of Leadership. And sometimes you might be a level 5 to one person, but you're just a level 1 to another. They don't know who you are. You just have the title of leader. So you have to prove yourself to your team. And a lot of owners feel like their ego gets in the way and they don't have to prove themselves. You're the owner. Well, no, you didn't do anything to showcase your skills as a leader to that person yet. You just have the title. So be a leader to them. Like really help them, and not just help them with hair. Listen to the consultations they're having. Like, hey, Jen, come on over for a second. Like that was a great consultation. What really worked for me in the past was this, this, and this. And that's it. These little nuggets of information you could pass through your team throughout the day is what's going to make them excel. And then you could truly then go from the operator to an owner, and I can leave my salon for 2 months and not even worry about it. And that's what you want as an owner. And the only way you could do that is by being a transformative leader.
Nice.
And that's what, yeah, that's what we as salon owners have to start doing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that information. First, Diana, do you have any questions for Nick?
So I love that he said when he's looking for stylists that he asked his current stylist to refer their friends, because that was another thing that the future professionals mentioned, is they feel more comfortable working at a place where they know other people are happy and are working. So that's like the greatest tip, I feel like, that you said was like very, very valuable. I think people should definitely do that.
Here's one important thing that I started implementing about a year ago. It's establishing my core values. So me as a salon, we need to know our purpose. Like, what's our brand stand for? Like, when people speak to other people in our community, not just what they say, but what do they feel? Like, how do they feel when they walk in the salon? How do they feel when they're paying? How do they feel when they're getting their service done? How do they feel when they leave? How do they feel the next week when they're styling their hair? And then more importantly, how do they feel in their circles of friends when they speak about us? Like, are they happy to share like where they got their hair done? And it's that feeling is what's going to drive people into your salon. So you have to really use that, and you have to make your staff feel like they love work. And if your staff loves work and they feel that way, then their friends are going to want to work there. But the way to really iron out who is a good fit for you is by establishing your core values of the salon. You know, why you do hair, why you have a salon, that's your mission statement, right? How you do it is your core values. It's we do it with integrity, we do it with honor, we do it with teamwork, we do it with respect. And as long as you establish core values, when me as an owner, I have to correct somebody, I don't want to say correct, but when I have to, adjust a younger stylist, I don't adjust that stylist. I don't tell them to do something wrong. I just tell them, hey, listen, teamwork is one of our big core values in our salon. It's important to us. And when we hired you, teamwork was important to you too. Yesterday when you left a little early, this and this happened. That wasn't really the best display of teamwork. So in order for us to really work together as a team, because I know that's important to you, let's try not to do that next time, or however you want to word it. And so you're never really attacking the person. It's just the core value that they're not displaying at that point in time. And a lot of times they could have a bad day. So when you attack them personally, it spirals their bad day to be 2 bad days and 3 bad days. And then next thing you know, they hate coming to work. But if you just talk about the core values and how that's important to us, to me and you, then it makes the conversation a lot easier.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
Dude, I love that. Sorry, Diana. That's so good. Like the communication style and focusing on your core values. That's so good. Were you gonna say something, Diana?
I think that's amazing too, like the culture of the salon, and that's another big, huge thing. And it's definitely the way that you treat people, the way you talk to them. Everything you said, I think, is just amazing. You're definitely ahead of the game, and everybody should listen to what you're saying.
I'm super serious on these calls, and like you look at my reels and you look at any of the coaching programs that I do, but in the salon, I'm probably the biggest, most immature goofball going. So it's a really lighthearted energy in my salon. One thing I hated was being micromanaged, and I hated being told what to do. We're all artists, and so like that corporate structure is so hard for us to kind of be bound by. So I like to give as much freedom as I could in terms of like without anyone running wild. Like you have as much freedom in my salon as you want. Like you want to start your own Google My Business page, start it. You want to start your own LLC, let's do it. You want to start your own blog, your own website, I'll help you. Like let you be a brand inside of my brand. That's what I love. And I never want to be held back. And so I never want to hold anyone else back.
Well, they're probably the younger people, in my experience, when I talk to them at the schools, they seem to be really interested in building their own brand. So, I mean, I think so. Let's kind of tie this all together here. We got like leadership, focus on leadership, study up on leadership. We got make your brand or your space a destination that goes into the cool factor. And coach them throughout the day. Like always, constantly take the opportunity to provide them with nuggets of information that are going to lead your team together. And I don't know if I said this already. Don't attack the person. Make it about the team and the core values.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for jumping on and sharing that with us. Do you have any last minute pieces of advice for a salon owner or someone who's looking to build a team and they are like looking at Gen Z and they're having some challenges with the new generation?
Honestly, just treat people like you want to be treated. That's it. Like, look at your habits are. What makes you want to go to a particular restaurant all the time? What makes you want to make decisions in your buying habits? Not that you're buying from your staff members, but what sways you emotionally to make those decisions? Because those are the same emotions that are going to make somebody pick your salon over another salon.
Gotcha. Nice. So good. Awesome. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for that.
All right, guys. Yeah, who's next?
Yeah, and now we'll move on to our next person. So thank you so much, and we'll be in touch
All
soon.
right, guys.
All
See you
right.
later. Have a great night.
See ya.
Keep watching. Should I hang up
Uh,
or something?
let's see. Yeah,
Yeah, I'll
yeah.
hang up.
Um,
I'll leave.
okay, and jump back on. All right, so we just invited our next guest. It's going to be Shug, a Mr. I Create Confidence. Let's see if I saw him on earlier. Let's see if he's on. While we're waiting for him to join, let's look at some of these other questions for anybody that's listening still on. We still got quite a few people on. Okay, so just to recap, we're talking about how to attract Gen Z rising stylists to your salon. What's up, Shug? How you doing?
What's going on?
Good.
I'm great.
So we're talking about how to attract Gen Z and rising stylists to your salon. We talked about making it a cool place or a destination, coaching them throughout the day, treating that. Don't forget to treat them the way you want to be treated. Let them grow their own brand and learn some leadership skills instead of just the hair skills. That's kind of what I got so far. Do you want to add
Right.
anything to that, Diana, before we introduce our next
I think
guest?
you said everything.
Okay, cool. All right, cool. Well, all right. So, Shug, give us a little introduction and tell us a little about who you are, where you're at, what you're doing.
All right. Where do I start? Okay, so Instagram name Mr. I Create Confidence, formerly Shug the Barber. Out of Detroit, Michigan. I am a barber of 10 years. I've been licensed since 2019. Finished and I am a barber instructor at Hair Lab Detroit Barber School, which is under Taylor Andrews and also headed by Roderick Samuels. Um, an educator, father, husband, all that other good stuff. And yeah, that is me.
Awesome. So, how long have you been teaching?
Ooh. Well, I taught my first class 2017. It's the first time I ventured out
Okay.
to educate. I just started in the school setting. Um, I was one of those students who was a student instructor. As we come across those every so often, I would say that I was one of the ones that when I was doing it, it was actually like true. I wasn't like, oh, I know what I'm doing, and I didn't know what I was doing. I actually did. When I went to barber school, my ethic was at that point when I got to the school that I finished at, which is Michigan Barber School. I started at Master Barbers Institute in Dallas, Texas, and I finished at Michigan Barber School here in Michigan. And by the time I got to Michigan Barber School, all my basics, most of those aesthetics I had already had. And I had worked in the industry for a little while because I took some breaks. It took me about 5 years to finish school. Not because I'm dumb. I just was grown by the time I started in the industry. I was 30 years old when I started. So I had accrued a wife and kids and things of that nature. So I had to take some breaks. And when I got to school, my ethic was, okay, yeah, I had clients and all that other stuff already, but I was humble when I walked to the door because my thing was I'm trying to get the same piece of paper that everybody else here is trying to get. Everybody in the school knew who I was when I got there, including the owner of the school, but I wasn't like the big head guy. It's just never been my thing. So I was like, hey, I'm here to learn something, whether it's learning more about what's in this book or learning about teaching because I've always been a born bred teacher. So I'm like, hey, I'm here to learn something. If I got to be here
Nice.
all day, I need to learn something and not be sitting up here arguing with the dang on teachers because they have what I want, which is a license at that point in time. So
All right.
yeah.
Cool. So, you are going to have a different perspective than Diana. Definitely different than our last guest. So, why don't you give us a little like what do you notice about like and we talked was it I think
Hmm.
yesterday or no
Day before
Friday.
yesterday. Yeah,
Yeah,
Friday.
we talked on Friday, and you were saying how you have different generations. So thinking
Yes.
about the younger generation and people who are out there like shop owners, and because you're in barbering and Diana's in cosmetology,
Mm-hmm.
and Nick is an owner. So let's hear from your perspective. What are you seeing is a good way to attract and appeal to these rising barbers and rising stylists?
I say a good way to attract and appeal to the younger ones. When I say young, I mean like sub 25 years
Yeah.
old. You got to get to know them. They have to know that you actually want to know who they are because they are so used to us 35 and ups talking about them and not to them. And we have a tendency to talk about them as a matter of factly without including them in the conversation. And that is a large gross disservice if you ask me. Even if they show up like this, they ready to fight already. And the only way to disarm them is to say, "Hey, what's your name, kid? And tell me something about yourself." Because if you meet them like this, then y'all just gonna be sitting up there fighting. And in Michigan, you got 1,800 hours to finish your barber's license. We're trying to lower it, but at this point, 1,800 hours, that's a long fight, you know. And I'm not trying to fight you the whole time. So it might take a little while for me to make you understand that I'm actually trying to help you. This criticism is to help you. It is not to talk about you. I understand that's what you're used to. So it's like get to know them first. And you kind of have to bring down a wall in the beginning, which it's kind of hard because like I said, 1,800 hours sounds like a lot, but it's not. It's really not a lot of time, especially if you're working with somebody who's never picked up a clipper in a day in their life to really try to get at least the basics into them while you're trying to fight their personality first. It's like I gotta make you
Uh,
mature first.
so have you that's so good, by the way. And someone actually looks like Justin J. Dunn also said that. I totally love that. Kind of talk to them don't approach them with any aggression and talk to them and not about them. What have you had a chance to interact with any people who were interested in hiring your students by any chance?
Yes.
And tell me about that. What that's like.
Okay. Okay. So since we talked, I started doing a little research, and what I find that's different from Cosmo and Barber is you don't have a lot of barber shops that have like programs that you come into to say, "Hey, we're going to train you in this way." It's like, "Can you cut hair? Okay, you cool. This is what time we open. This is what time we close, and that's it." And I didn't know that on the Cosmo side, it can be so intensive just to get into a shop. And I think we need to do more of that in the barbering industry. And the problem is that a lot of barbershops don't have DNA in the hair industry. And what I mean by that is when a DNA is something that this shop is built off of, you know that shop by that thing. Like what barbershop can you really name that you can say is in the same ranks of Innovator System or Paul Mitchell System or Vidal Sassoon. Those names. Now we have our people who we love, but as far as a barber system that is like, if you say this to most barbers, they're going to at least know the name. I don't know if we have that. Maybe it's on the black side. I don't know. Uh, but far as the owners that I've talked to, they're asking about the attitude of the person off rip. How is especially depending upon how old they are. Of course, I have a lot of students who are older, so they may be a little more mature. Some of the older ones are not more mature, but the biggest question is the attitude. And then once they get in the shop, they're like, okay, well, what happened? They don't know how to cut, and the student normally blames the school. Well, they didn't teach me. So you mean you were here for 1,800 hours and you didn't do one ball fade because you in the shop now and you can't do one ball fade in less than 20 minutes, and it's the school's fault every time. And it's a little weird. And it's like once they talked to us, they was like, did they tell you that they ran from cuts the whole time? They just they got their book together. They learned the book part enough to pass the test, thank God. But when it came to the physical part of actually cutting hair, they ran because the internet just made it so messed up to where everybody wants to do the perfect head so they can get that picture for Instagram instead of cutting everything. You know what I'm saying? Like for
Yeah.
me, I was the barber, and like I said, in school, who had clients. I had my books were full to the point where I had to have my people come to the school to get their hair cut, and we worked that out that way. And I took the regular people. If it was the guy who he was George Jefferson, I'm cutting his hair too. I'm cutting everything. If maybe I could just work on my tapers. I looked at everything as something to work on, and some of these younger students, they don't look at it like that. They want the perfect head, the perfect lineup, and it's like you get that in your chair, but you're not proficient, so you can't even give it the look that you want to give it.
So, question, Diana, have you noticed this too? Do you have a similar issue? I before you answer, I was talking to some students at a local school in the DC metro area, and I won't name the school or the student, but they were telling me that the students don't like to do more than 1 or 2 appointments a day. If they get a walk-in, the teachers are like chasing after them to do the walk-in, and they'd prefer to watch a video or work on their social media. Are you seeing that also, Diana?
Not so much. Actually, our students really love to get guests, so they kind of get disappointed if they don't have one. I think it more depends on the actual individual. I think that 100% that when you're in school, you are there to learn, and your learning leaders are there to make sure that you're doing everything that you're supposed to do. So I feel a lot of times when people like blame it on the school, they're just making an excuse for themselves. So the school's 100% teaching it. I'm pretty sure whatever school you're in, I'm not just talking about Paul Mitchell, but if if you're employed as an instructor, I'm pretty sure you're there and you're instructing, because we have the agencies that come in to check to make sure that you are. So I think that definitely is based on the person and their experience, and a lot of that comes back to like when he was saying that they're asking like, what is the person's attitude like? If you have a forward focused positive person, they're not going to say anything bad about the school, or they're not going to make excuses for it. But when you have somebody that's kind of like not as motivated, or then they're going to come and look for an excuse. So I wouldn't listen to that. I would just kind of have to you have to look at it and see where it's coming from. But that does kind of show a little bit of character too. So obviously you want to employ somebody that's going to be super enthusiastic about learning and taking guests, because otherwise why are they there?
You know what's so crazy that you just said that? You just kind of nailed something that I don't think we talk about enough, and that is what red flags can help you kind of weed through people. And that, so you just mentioned something. If someone's complaining or blaming somebody else for why they didn't get to where they should be or are, maybe that person is actually telling you that they're not going to be able to give you the commitment to education and growth that you might want as a business owner. This is great. Thank you so much for coming on. Shug, do you have any any last minute things to add? Anybody who owns a shop or salon, or any insight to working with younger folk before we invite our next guest on?
Definitely. Like I said before, get to know them, figure out how they learn, and I think that's across any age group. If you're employing people in your shop or your salon, figure out how they learn, if they need to learn something, especially if you're the owner, because if they don't get clients, whether you're bullfront or commission, you're not gonna get none of it, right? And that goes against your reputation. So start caring more about the people. There is oodles of market research out there about happy and about people working for bosses who love them, and that they feel like this boss cares about their well-being, not just, well, are you good at what you do, so to speak. When look at Google, when people care about how their employees are treated, and then the employee can bring something to them and it goes into work, you just get a better employee, you get a better barber, you get a better stylist, a better masseuse, so on and so forth. So care more about the people who walk through your door, whether it's client or barber stylist.
I love that. That's so good. Well, thank you so much for jumping on, and we're gonna let you go, and we're gonna take our last guest for tonight. So if you just exit out of it, you can jump back on and join with us and finish out with us.
Much for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks, and look forward to talking to you soon.
Yes.
All right. So that was a nice little like extra layer of remember that to treat people like they're people, right?
Absolutely. I love that. I love everything that everyone's contributing. It's so important.
I love it too. I know. So we have our last guest of the evening is coming on. It's Ashley Gray. Ashley, you there?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah,
I'm
we got a.
literally pulling into the house right this second. Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
No, thank you so much for jumping on. I mean, it's above and beyond to take your time, and you don't. Yeah, you don't need to be on camera if you know. No, just so we got your insights. So, Ashley,
I don't care, actually.
would you tell
Yeah.
us? Would you tell everybody? Give us a little like high level, like who you are, where you're at, how many salons you got, and how many people, how many like young rising stylists you have working for you.
We just opened our second location, and it's just like a smaller location. So we started out with the first one has like 14 chairs. The second one's got 6 chairs. I've got, God, how many do I have now? I think I have 15 stylists. We've got 7 or 8. Hold on. Sorry. 7 or 8 apprentices right now. I gotta get you.
I think you muted us. Oh,
No, I gotta get you off my car. I'm so sorry, and I don't know how to do this without ending.
oh,
Can I end and come right back?
yeah. Just go ahead and sign off. We'll come back
So
on. No
sorry.
problem. Thank you
Okay.
so much. Okay, so while we're waiting for her to come back on, so just to repeat, she's got 2 locations. She's got a bunch of her people are younger. I'm pretty sure all of her apprentices, and I think there's 8 or 9 of them. And she's gonna have some good insight. So just to recap here, how to attract Gen Z rising stylists. We got make your place a destination, make it cool, which means social media should be cool. I mean, when they walk in, they have to think about the customer experience also for your future employees, right? Like walking through the door and feeling like it's a cool place. I don't want to just hijack the whole thing. You want to add some of the other pieces?
So definitely just the way that you make people feel. So whether it's the clients or your stylist, your team, making it
Okay.
could really.
Nice. Okay, so
I'm back.
all right, so we got back, and Diana and I will do a little recap that we were kind of getting through at the end after we talk with Ashley. So, okay, Ashley, thank you for coming on.
No problem.
So we've been talking about how to attract people, younger stylists to the salon, and we had already talked about like understanding them and getting to know them and what they're looking for. But we want to talk, how do you get them to come in the door? How do you get them to apply so that then you can make your impression? Would you give us some insight why you think that you attract so many the younger folks?
Well, I don't know how it, like, honestly, I'm like, I got lucky at the beginning. I feel like because I'm like a smaller town, like my name, the branding of my company first attracted people. I invested in like, the social media, and now I have someone running it for me. At the beginning though, I would say it was just that, like, people are like, oh, what's Ash? That looks cool, And I started with just 1 apprentice, and then it was 2. And then all of a sudden, as we grew and we grew into a bigger location, I'm assuming that the schools and like the word just got out. But I think that we did a good job with our social media and our branding. And I think that had to be like what initially kind of got it to blow up a little bit. Because now I feel like I don't really have to put ads out there very much. Like every couple months I'll be like, oh my God, we need to hire someone. And then boom, there's applications. And I'm like, thank God. Okay. But a lot of the local schools, like, they do know of my salon, and that probably helps when I get girls that are like coming out of cosmetology school, which is how I love to get them rather than training them 100% myself. But once they come here, I would say now I'm at the point it's so established. I think that what draws them to me now is the fact that we offer a lot of things that like a corporate salon would without being corporate. They can, dress more casual and have more fun. And it's like definitely a family atmosphere. So once I get them in the door, they're like, oh my God, I love it here. And they work really well together. And that team has just grown and grown and grown, you know?
Nice.
But I would say probably that, like that they like that it's not school. A lot of them want to get paid and not go to school. And yeah, and then there's opportunities we give them too, so they can get kind of feel like hairstylists pretty quickly there. You know, depending on how well they do, but we give them opportunities to assist the master stylists, and if they do well and they've kind of advanced, then we give them like blow dry bar day, and so they get a day on the books and they feel like, you know, they're like one of the stylists, even though they're not doing coloring, like balayage and stuff like that, but they're doing retouches and glosses and blow dries, and they start to develop a relationship with a client. So I think they really enjoy that. And then of course we do classes every week, so that's like the biggest thing. Thank you, Robert.
So you're
Robert's doing
so
classes.
what everybody doesn't know is that I'm working with Ashley, and I'm coming in as guest educator and working with her on on her apprenticeship program. And so it sounds to me like, and I mean, we've never really had this conversation, and so I'm really happy that you're able to join. So it sounds like you're kind of hitting on all cylinders that we talked about. What would you say, Diana?
I think that's amazing. Definitely opportunities. I love that. And I think that's so great that you make it fun and it's exciting. So they're still growing, and then now they get to apply color and, you know, all these things. You know, even if it's just a root retouch, they're getting their hands in hair, and like that's really what they want.
Yeah.
But and you know, you're not just going to put somebody in to do hair. I mean, I wouldn't either. You know, there's a process to go through. But when you make that process fun, that's what's going to attract people, and they're going to be proud of themselves, and you know, that's amazing.
Yeah, like baby steps through the door,
Yeah.
baby steps on the bus, baby
Yeah.
steps off the bus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Hey, real quick, this is not necessarily part of tonight's conversation, but we had a question from one of their audience members. I'm the Sheet asked, how do you improve on their speed? My apprentices are so slow. I'm trying to be understanding, but it's very hard. Would you like to speak to that, Ashley?
I mean, I think that is the number one challenge at the beginning. Having them assist more and more, I think helps. Like I've definitely noticed when they're doing personal assisting and I'm on them, like they have to do my blow dries and my rooted glazes and color retouches and stuff. Like it's frustrating to me when they're slow, but the only way to get better is to just keep doing it. So, and then when they're working with me, they're under a little bit more pressure and they feel it a little bit more. Of course, I wouldn't put them on the floor to take clients until they've gotten their speed better. But yeah, model days, like just working with them, time drills. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's a big one.
So it's okay to still put their feet to the fire a little bit.
Yeah, I mean,
That's not completely gone.
no, I mean, that's the only way to grow is they got to just do. So I
Yeah,
really do feel like that blow dry bar concept though has done so well for us and our apprentices because again, it like builds their confidence. They've got, you know, build relationships and they do work on speed and they feel the pressure of like, okay, I got to get this done and I don't want to have this client sitting here all day long. So yeah,
totally. What
it
were you
is
gonna
like
say,
baby
Diana?
steps.
I was going to say we do skills and drills at Paul Mitchell, so give them a certain amount of time. So when you're doing your like on your training days, that's something that you do is just time them. Okay, we're gonna do a retouch up in 15 minutes. We're gonna do a blowout in 30 minutes, like whatever your goals are. And then, like she's saying, the more that they work on it, the quicker they're gonna get. But you know, a little bit of fire, I think, is good.
Yeah.
But definitely, like, talk about the timing, talk about why it's important, talk about what's the benefits of that. So the quicker that you apply color to your first client, you could then shampoo your second client and you get more clients because, you know, time equals money. So I think that all those things will
Yeah.
work.
Well, I have for my apprentice, I encourage her to stack her day of when she has models like a regular salon day, which is almost guaranteed to run her behind because she's got to do her own shampoos. So like I end up doing some of her shampoos sometimes, just to like keep her kind of moving if she's falling behind. And another thing I'll do is I'll have her do drills also. It's like do a full foil, medium weave with lightener, and I want to see that you get it close to the scalp, you don't bleed, and you gotta get it done in like 90 minutes or less in order to start taking highlight clients.
That's
And
great.
so then they got a goal that you gotta work towards. And once she hits that goal, it's on. So that's helped. That's work. That seems to work for us.
Yeah.
Incentivize them.
Most of my girls that I release to the floor, we close their processing time, like for all blonding services, just because of that, because they do run behind. And that helps. So they're not trying to double book it first. And then as they've really filled their book in, I'm like, look, you want to make more money, you got to get on top of your timing. And that, like you said, time is money. That does motivate them. I feel like almost everyone after like 6 months or so is like, okay, open up my processing. And then, they've gotten a hold of their timing too.
Nice.
Great.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ashley, for taking the time and coming on and sharing. Diana, do you have any last questions for Ashley before we let her go?
Not that I could think of, but I love everything she said.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I mean, basically, Ashley, you just said basically, I think everything that we've talked about on this show, if
Really?
you're doing it. So,
Oh, thank you. I'm trying.
why don't if anybody listening want to check out Ashley, what's the handle?
It's Ash.Salon is the
Yeah,
salon,
so you
or mine is Ash
can
with
check
a
her
gray.
out, and you can check out the website, the Instagram, and yeah, sounds good.
And apply. No. All
Yeah,
right.
and apply. Yeah, she says. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again, Ashley, and I'll definitely be in touch, obviously. And
Yeah.
yes, thank you so much.
All
Thank you
right.
again.
Thank you.
Bye bye. All you
Bye, guys.
do is just press the X and sign off.
All right.
Bye.
Awesome. Bye.
So that was awesome. We got some people saying that they're gonna go apply to Ashley's salon right now. All right, so let's do a back and forth. I'm gonna say one, and you say one, and we'll just go through this list that we're both holding in our head here. So first and foremost, you got to be a destination. You got to be cool, and that has to do with having a good Instagram and a good website.
Yes. You have to be nice and be kind to people and actually genuinely care about them.
Yes, yes, and you should read up on leadership qualities and leadership traits to learn how to lead your people.
Yes. Coaching, so constructive criticism, but in a nice way. For us, we always bring it down to systems, but I like how he said like core values. So whatever your dialogue is, it's not personal. It's because this is what we do here. And, let them know also what's in it for them. Why should they listen to you?
Nice. And then I don't know if this is the last one, but the next one I got is don't talk about your people, talk to them, get to know them. It kind of feels like it meshes into what you were saying. Treat them like a person, and just remember that like they might be kind of defensive or feeling or worried that they're going to be taken advantage of or not treated a certain way. So try to bring down those barriers with just asking them how their day is and getting to know them.
Yes. And there's more, but I'm trying to remember. I had it in my head.
I think if there's another one, there's only one more.
There's one more. And
yeah. Okay, so be cool at a destination. Treat people like they're people. Coach them and learn leadership skills. Coach and manage to your core values. Don't attack the person. Don't tell them you're doing something wrong. Just tell them at this salon or this shop, these are our values. Relate everything back. And then last but not least,
is having fun too, fun for them. Like they get to do all these extra things like in those steps in the systems that she was just explaining. I think that's really, really great.
Yeah, and I think just having things to offer, ways to get people doing hair and feeling like they're on the floor, or at least like letting them get their hands in hair with clients as soon as possible, obviously without jeopardizing the integrity of your brand, of course.
Oh, and also asking your stylist, this is the one I couldn't remember, asking your stylist for referrals. So if you're having a hard time finding people on your own, use that word of mouth, just like you would to get client referrals. I think.
Nice. And last but not least, something that was not said this whole time is go visit your local cosmetology school as a guest speaker, as guest artist, do some hair, talk about your business. And by the way, they really like if you ask them to answer whatever questions they want, or if you're gonna do some hair. Those are some of the things they like to see. And I've also noticed if you kind of come in and have the ability to jump around and talk a lot of stuff. But my advice is, if you're going to the schools, be careful with the downward trend of attention. If you want to make sure you keep a hold of their interest. But they want to see you, they want to meet you, and if they like you, then they're gonna want to apply at your shop and maybe offer a shadow day.
Yes, absolutely. And then also the future professionals are talking about, like, they love when places have events. So like either hosting a hiring day or just having like some kind of event, like a blowout event or something that, is going to be fun. Maybe you have a DJ there, or like I see a lot of people doing like permanent jewelry parties or like Botox parties or like whatever it is. It makes them feel like they can come in and kind of get into the atmosphere without actually like having to be on an interview. And that's like the first step of them feeling comfortable in order so that you can interview them.
I love that. I think I'm gonna have to noodle on that one. I'm gonna do that's right up my alley. Let's throw a party, Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time, Diana. It was a pleasure working with you today.
Always a pleasure, Rob. Thank you again so much.
Absolutely. And yeah, I feel like is there anything you want to say before you sign off?
I think that it's really important, and this is another reason why I was saying how much I love that you are doing this, that the Hairdresser Strong Show exists, because it's so important that all of us who are in the industry, I feel like we have this responsibility, whether you're a director, whether you're an educator in the industry, salon owner. I feel like, don't you want to give back and make the industry better? So the Gen Z is the future of this industry, whether people like it or not. I mean, some people, everybody can see, like, some people see the benefits, and then other people just want people to come in and just, work and do whatever you tell them to do without giving them the things that they want. It's not going anywhere, and it's not going to change. Like, this is how it is. And I feel like we have that responsibility to pass on information, like educate people, make a difference in the industry, whichever way it is, make a difference, give back. And this way, we get stronger and we all grow together.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And thank you everyone who's hung out until the end, and everybody who's watching the recording after the fact. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you so much, Diana. And Happy New Year to everybody, including you, Diana.
All right. Happy New Year. So I'd love to do this again soon sometime. So let us know what our next conversation should be.
Yes. Send us a DM, leave a comment below. We're going to post this so you can message here, and we will definitely be back with another community conversation. All right.
Okay.
Bye. See you later.
Bye.